grabando.
Hello, we are here to present a simulation project that we did for our translation technology class after been learning how to use Trados through the semester. So this is the specifics of our presentation. We will do a brief overview of the project, what we have learned, and then Daniel is going to do some closing remarks. So overall, the idea of the project was to recreate a project since the beginning to the end. So we had to create our own team, a team. Then we have to also look for a client and create the whole project and submit that delivery. So we were 2 students on campus. We had to look for more because the idea was that a team should be more than 3 people. So we found Daniel, and Daniel is remote. So the idea was that we had 2 in-house translators and then 1 was remote. After that, we looked for a client. We decided to translate speech of Greta Thunberg. So it was a very easy material or content to translate, very straightforward. And after that, we used the system that Trados has of creating a package where you create a package, the project manager will create a package and send and email that package to the translators who will be working on that project. And that was mostly it. And now we are gonna comment on lessons that we have learned. Daniel?
Yes, and I'll start with some of the things that went well, and actually a lot of things went really well with our team and with our project. We're all really proud of that. Specifically, team communication. We worked really well together. We were very supportive throughout the whole process. We communicated with much respect, and so that's obviously something that's very important in any team project, and we did that really well. Our preparation process, specifically when we actually implemented the translation of the project, the pseudo translation went really well. The glossary, there was some really good discussions around which terms, for example, should be included in the glossary, which terms should not. So that went really well. The term base, the style guide, we have a fairly simple style guide, but we thought that it was very appropriate for the project that we were doing. So we were really happy with that as well. And the project packaging that Lenubio was mentioning, we, in preparation for the project, we decided to do a practice to send a project package to each other to practice to make sure that everybody was able to open the package and that there were no problems. Through that process, we did discover that there were some issues with opening the project packages with some of the team members' computers. We also discovered, or we learned rather, that we cannot send project packages directly from the Trados software, but rather, we treat it as a zip file, for example, and we simply attach it and send it in a message or in an email that way. So there were a lot of things that went really well, but there were also some things that did not, of course, naturally for any project. And we're going to talk about some of those challenges next.
Yes, so this is my issue. I work with Macs, and so Trados is PC or Windows software. So even though that I have parallels, the idea is that I was able to use Trados until this happened, that I received a package. I could see the translation that the rest of the translators have done, but somehow I couldn't work on it, and I keep receiving this message. I delete Trados, download it again. It kept happening. And so also we were running out of time for the deadline of the project. So I had to just go back to and do it manually. And then email my translation to some of the other team members. So
that leads us to our next challenge, remembering that a project package in Trados cannot be opened if you were the person who created that project package. I had created our project package and sent it out first to Daniel, who successfully put in his translation and sent it to Danubia. And as you just heard, Danubia was unable to edit the project package, therefore had sent the file to us with her translations in a document to be copied and pasted into that package. When I went and tried to open the package again, of course, I got this error message saying that I created the package myself, and so I could not open it again. This led Daniel to have to be the one to do that last translation again and put in that piece. Our last challenge we'll talk about is about our task tracker that we created at the very beginning of our project together. We created a really great Excel file with all of the tasks laid out for our project and who we would assign those tasks to, a column to be able to track the completion of those tasks. We did a great job of laying it all out that was really helpful in understanding everything that needed to be done. It helped get our conversation going of who was doing what and organizing our time and workflow. Unfortunately, we just didn't continue to use that Excel sheet. As Danielle had mentioned earlier, we relied really heavily and successfully on our communication in Teams. And we felt that that was sufficient enough in our team of 3 to be able to communicate which tasks had already been done, which tasks still needed to be completed. But we all recognize that using a document like this would have been really helpful and will be really helpful in the future, especially on projects that are worked on with a bigger team and with more tasks, for example. So that's something that we would change for the future. Our future projects, with that in mind, these are the things that we would absolutely apply to our future projects, either things that went really well for us or lessons that we learned from challenges or mistakes. Our timely communication, we would absolutely keep for any projects. Using a platform like Teams was invaluable for our hybrid team. Our proposal, our project quote, was a great success and very thorough and detailed, but not too much so to overwhelm a client. We know that we could use that template on future projects as well, especially because it worked so well for us this time. And like we've mentioned multiple times, the project preparation that we put into this was really invaluable for our success, especially practicing the project package, sending it, opening it, and editing, and then our pseudo translation that we did. Those 2 things in particular helped to mitigate some challenges that we would have had even worse down the road.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I will finish off with some closing remarks. Just want to highlight, teamwork. We were very successful at working together. Again, just reiterating that. There were several challenges, as you can see, but we were able to work through those very seamlessly. Particularly, there was that initial, concern that there was going to be one person on the team, me, that was going to be working remotely, but as we can see, it worked out really well. And we learned a lot of things. We learned a lot of things through this project, and we feel more confident with the skills that we've acquired and the knowledge that we have now to take on even more, or rather just more complex projects in the future. And with that, this concludes our presentation. Thank you very much.